So, how does your job relate to the sporting world? Kind of like, do you directly work with athletes?
Directly, yes, not exclusively,
Yeah.
but directly work with athletes. So the company I work for, the clinic I work in is interesting where we are in Cameron Village, right by NC State's campus. So we work with a lot of NC State students, work with a lot of club frisbee players. We've worked with a lot of volleyball players, and just the population of downtown Raleigh is a very active population. So the term athlete, like high profile athlete, no, but athlete as in people who are going out running, participating in sports, that's a huge part of our client base. And that's how they keep us really in business.
Oh.
Going crazy on the weekends and getting hurt, right?
So with those athletes or anybody that does come in, what's the most common injury that you may see?
Yeah, with athletes specifically, we see a lot of low back, some ankle stuff, and a lot of shoulder stuff. You see, especially with like younger athletes who go to the gym, just poor form with heavy lifting. So you get a lot of back issues. So a lot of what we do kind of helps mitigate that and teaching form. But really, it's very sport dependent, right?
Yeah.
What is their activity? Is it running? Is it volleyball? Is it ultimate frisbee? So it kind of varies depending on their activity.
Gotcha. So does your job where you currently work provide it's relative, but for you, does it provide a good work-life balance?
Absolutely it does. Yeah. I mean, I'm only expected to be there 40 hours a week. They would prefer me not doing anything additional to 40 hours a week, which is wonderful. And the people I work with are like high quality people and high quality physical therapists and physical therapist assistants. And then the people like patient wise, like just good people around you talking to people all day long. And the thing I like best about it is when I'm at work, and as soon as I leave,
they don't expect you to come.
Right, they expect me to come in, and I'm at home, and I can do what I need to do, and there's no like everything else in the back of my mind.
That's good. That's great. So at work, are you under a lot of stress normally? Like, is it a very stressful environment, or?
It can be. A lot of it depends on patient load. Like at the beginning of the spring, a lot of people started running again. And so we see actually a pretty large influx of people. So the job itself isn't super stressful. We're not dealing with people who are on the verge of life and death. It's just sports injuries usually, or low back injuries, so pain and discomfort is what they're dealing with. So the stress end is just more patient load as opposed to like intense injury kind of a stress. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
Yeah. So it's just the volume of patients coming in more than anything. So you mentioned this before that you do not work exclusively with any teams, just kind of athletes that may come in from NC State or American College or just any
or Peace or
person.
Yeah.
Okay. And you also mentioned your daily activities usually are actually. So what are your daily activities? When you go to work, you clock in. What happens after that normally on a given day?
Yeah. So say a given day like today where I work 7 to 4, I go in, clock in, first patient comes in at 7, I'm reviewing notes to see who's coming in. And then I work specifically with a PT, and we see anywhere from like 12 to 20 patients in a day, depending on the day. And so we kind of just run through a game plan of who's going to see who's going to do what with who. And then like we've been working together for a year, so we kind of read each other really well. And so we just kind of go through the patients. In the state of North Carolina, PTAs aren't allowed to work on like spines, but we can do a lot of soft tissue work, like massages or like people have sore shoulders, I can work on the tissue or the joints. So if somebody comes in with low back pain, my PT will usually take that patient because I can't work on the spine. So we'll kind of get that planned out, hashed out, and then we'll kind of divvy up the patients, see who needs to do what with whom, and then proceed from there.
Okay. Did you have any formal training with spine injuries in PTA school? Is that?
Yeah, so I could work on, as PTAs in the state of North Carolina,
Yeah.
we cannot work on the spine.
But did you have any
Yeah.
training in PTA school?
So we know like on basic principles on how to work on the spine, but as far as hands-on experience,
Gotcha.
no.
Okay.
But the funny thing is, we can work on the musculature around the spine, right?
Yeah.
So there are loopholes. We just cannot press on the spine itself or do what we call joint mobilizations
Okay.
on the spine itself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is your work schedule flexible? Like if you work 45 hours a good week and you work 35 the next, or can you go like 8 to 5 instead of 7 to 4?
No, not flexible.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very patient dependent, right? So if we have patients from 7 to 5, that's what I'm expected to be in clinic, 7 to 5. So in that aspect, not flexible at all.
Okay. And the last question I have for you is, do you overall, kind of an umbrella, enjoy working at the company you're at right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This company is super gung-ho about education for their employees. And there are very few things more fulfilling in a work environment than having a company invest in you. So from that sense, them wanting me to become a better clinician, it's self-serving for them because the better clinician I am, the better the patients get when they come in and they want to come back, which is revenue for them. But it also helps me become a better clinician, become more marketable. They want to keep me there because they've invested money in me or they invested time in me. So I love working there for that aspect. And little shout out to Results Physiotherapy, they are in the top 2% in the country as far as patient quality outcomes.
Wow.
Out of all of the PT clinics in the country.
That's impressive.
So they know what they're doing and they train well, and so that's a lot of positives.
So is that an international company or?
Southeast mostly,
Yeah.
but the survey was from nationwide.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was all me.
All right. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, not a problem.
That wasn't bad. Like 12 minutes. Still going, right?
Ben only coughed once.
Yeah, sorry.